All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another market open. We have a lot to talk about today on this April 5th, 2023. It is 9:21 a.m. Palantir is up 5% in the pre-markets, which means something is going on for Palantir to be up 5% in the pre-markets. And guess we got to discuss. So, what the heck is going on for Palantir to be up 5% in the pre-market? Because usually it's not. But we'll see. Martin, Miami, Paul, Ray, Quarantine Quartet, Mr. Russo, Philip, Cameron, what's up? All right, we're gonna get straight into this Palantir partnership. Try to understand a little bit more on what is being said, why it's being said, and what's kind of going on. Palantir and Microsoft expanding their premium partnership in the public sector from just the private sector. So let's go to here. Roy, Samarth, John, Turkey, Rosbo, Jay Prades. What's up, my man? Looking good. DPDR Infos. What's up? All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into it right now. Let's get into this one. Pete, Gentry, what's up? Okay. Palantir and Microsoft expand cloud partnership to public sectors. Let's talk about this one. Palantir today announced that Palantir Federal Cloud Services achieved FedRAMP authorization and accreditation to support workloads at U.S. Department of DoD level IL4 and DoD IL5 on Microsoft Azure. So this is their cloud services specifically for the federal government. These are services that now have the ability to work with other subcontractors or defense contractors with the government that have impact level 4 and impact level 5 on Microsoft Azure's cloud computing software. Microsoft has big deals with the government. Palantir has IL6 security clearance, so they also have the ability to work on anything above and below that. This new milestone enables U.S. government customers and industry partners to access Palantir and Microsoft secured, integrated, enterprise-grade capabilities in both Microsoft Azure government and Azure commercial environments. The milestone expands Palantir and Microsoft's strategic partnership from the private sector to the public sector, bringing the best-in-class cloud components to the federal marketplace. We're aiming to support IL6 through multi-cloud service integration. Now, remember, this would not be able to happen unless Palantir had IL6 certification. The reason this is happening is because Palantir got IL6 back in like July 2022. Microsoft and Amazon are the only other two companies that have IL6. Microsoft, Amazon, $1 trillion companies. Palantir is a little $14 billion company. So Palantir being able to have IL6 is actually, the strategic element of making this all work in the first place. Reza, I'm sorry you didn't get any notification that I went live on YouTube. You guys, I don't know, man. You guys set the notification on your phone or something. YouTube's just YouTube. Sometimes it's just YouTube. All right. With the successful completion of FedRAMP and IL4 and IL5 accreditation on Microsoft Azure Commercial and Azure Government, Palantir and Microsoft are prepared to bring the best in breed solutions to the federal government. Leveraging lessons from our partnership in the commercial sector, we are looking forward to delivering information on behalf of the most important U.S. government missions on accelerated timeframe. Today's announcement represents an inflection point in our partnership that will benefit our public sector stakeholders. We look forward to launching these joint solutions with our federal partners. In addition to supporting public sector DoD customers, the PFCS was also designed for the greater defense industrial base. PFCS on Azure Government meets defense federal acquisition regulation supplements requirements and can support both controlled unclassified information and international traffic and arms regulation. Okay, so a lot of acronyms there for government work, but what this means is Palantir is able to control the governance and privacy of the data, which is why they're able to do all this stuff. If you can't control the governance and the privacy of the data, which Alex Karp has talked about as baked into the fabric of the software in and of itself, you wouldn't be able to get these types of contracts or to be able to expand these types of partnerships within these different types of subsidiaries that exist within the government. Azure Government, again, Microsoft, multi-trillion-dollar company, has the ability to do this stuff because it's Microsoft. And, Microsoft is Microsoft. Palantir playing a strategic role with Azure is actually really, really special and unique because of their IL6 certification. Wes Anderson, President of Defense, Microsoft Federal, says, with Palantir Federal Cloud Services FedRAMP authorization on Microsoft Azure, defense organizations have even more solutions available to them to meet their critical mission needs. Our focus continues to be on building up our partner ecosystem to accelerate innovation and provide trusted, flexible, advanced cloud solutions for national security missions. This is pretty cool. The stock is up. Let's take a look at the stock right now. I believe it's up 5% right now, but this is pretty good. Every live stream chat in the history of YouTube, I didn't get a notification. No finance junkies last night. Yeah, unfortunately, man, Chris and Carlos, they couldn't make it. Chris was traveling and Carlos just had some family stuff, but we'll be back tonight. So Chris and Carlos, unfortunately, couldn't make it. Amit, say hi to my brother's wife, Destiny. She loves watching you in the morning with me. Destiny, what's up? You know, I don't have a child, but I do think that Destiny is my future. I was trying to make a Destiny's Child joke, and it just got destroyed. This is what happens when I try to be a comedian. But Destiny, thank you for watching me in the morning. Joel is a super dope guy, so I'm happy that you like him. All right, so let's pull up the Weeble and let's take a look at this. That could have gone worse. It definitely could have gone worse. Again, this is the reason this is really cool is because the only reason Palantir is getting this deal is because of IL6 certification. Now, we haven't heard of IL6 in a long time other than July 2022 when they first got it. Look at that. Palantir up 3.83%, 867 in the pre-markets. Does this deal give them a lot of leeway in terms of stock price action? I have no idea, to be honest, because these deals usually don't. I do know that yesterday the market tanked. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the market tanked. Like, it was up while I was live, and then like 3 hours later, I looked at it, and at like end phase that was at 215, like 199. Tesla went to 192. Like a bunch of these stocks just crashed. You see how red it is right here? So, and what was the reason for that? I have no idea. Was it the Trump stuff? I have zero idea why it just randomly tanked, but it was very random and it just fell. So do I expect Palantir to hold this stuff? I don't know. But again, the reason this is so exciting is because Microsoft has so many contracts in the defense space. And as a result of them having so many contracts in the defense space and so many cloud computing infrastructure contracts, there is obviously a value to Palantir being integrated into the cloud computing they do. Otherwise, Microsoft would just do it themselves, right? Microsoft would literally be like, hey, screw you, Palantir. We'll just do it ourselves. We already have the IL6 certification. We already have the contracts with the DoD. A strategic partnership from bringing what they're doing in the private sector to the public sector means that the leadership of Microsoft Defense recognized, oh, Palantir is offering something that's actually valuable, something that it's not worth it for us to do. Because if it was worth it for them to do, trust me, they would have done it, and they would have not let Palantir get any of that money. No company wants to give a strategic partner some money if they're not strategic. Obviously, they're strategic. And so it's an exciting deal. I'll probably do a video on it a little bit later, going a little bit more in depth. How much will it affect the stock price? I don't know. But again, all of these, this is the one thing to understand if you're investing in Palantir. All of these deals have zero impact on the short-term price, but they are setting up a very long-term foundation where there is still an execution risk. But when you've got Palantir working with Microsoft in the public sector, doing stuff that no other companies are doing because they just don't have IL6 certification, right? Only Microsoft, Amazon, and Palantir can do it. That should pay dividends in the future. And that's what you're betting on when you see a lot of these deals, not on the kind of short-term movement of the stock, because the market's not really going to care about this, to be honest. But it is exciting for a shareholder to see. S&P at 408. We're about 30 seconds away from the market open. Nvidia at 268. All right, we're out of the 270s on Nvidia. I don't know who still has their shorts on Nvidia. We're seeing it down a little bit more. Sachin says, as Microsoft is aggressive in selling government and commercial fast-growing cloud, they can sell more. They can sell more if they can enable more use cases and especially complex high-stake use cases. Yes, that is exactly correct. If they can sell more high-stake use cases of Azure because Palantir is a strategic partner enabling the selling of using Azure as the backend, then boom, that's how Palantir becomes a strategic partner, and then that's the reason they work together. All right, 9:30 a.m., April 5th, 2023. Thank you all for being here. The stock market is now open. Wake your ass up. The stock market is open. Let's take a look at some of our stocks. We'll first go to Palantir. 855. All right, so it's up 2% pre-market. Big red candle. Obviously, again, deal is not going to move the stock too much, but it is up 2% from yesterday. So the market is liking a little bit of that deal. Lululemon at 367, Microsoft 283, SPY 407, Nvidia 268, down from 274, Tesla 190. So Tesla's getting down. I bought I think one share of Tesla yesterday at 193. So Tesla is trending down a little bit. Analysts did not like the deliveries, I guess, even though they slightly beat. Occidental 64, down 0.24%. Supermicro 107, Google 106. Google actually up today. I've actually started talking to a lot of people who are using Bard, and they say they like it. So Bard is getting a little bit better. I still don't have access to it yet. I'm using ChatGPT on the daily. But I will be curious to see what Bard's look like. And look, if Bard can do what ChatGPT does and it's better, then I won't pay chat $20 a month for ChatGPT. If Bard can do it. But just got to test it out a little bit. Microsoft at 286, SoFi 582. I closed out the 16 cash secured puts I got, released $8,000 of collateral, paid $80 to buy back a $404 contract. And I made $324, which is a 4.05% return in about 3 weeks. So not bad. I reduced all my risk exposure. I didn't want to wait till April 21st. Kramer also said he likes SoFi now. And I closed my cash secured puts before I saw the Kramer news. I did it at like 1 p.m. and the Kramer news broke at 8 p.m. And let's just say if Kramer is going to be Kramer, then SoFi is going to have some hard times in the future. It's just going to be what it is. Meta at 214, Amazon 103, ARK at 39. ARK has been really stuck between 37 and 40. Bitcoin 28,047, Square 67, Apple 164, NASDAQ 12,079, so just 79 points down from hitting the 11,000s, down 48 points to start the morning. AMD at 94, Rocket Lab 3.8. I have the Rocket Lab podcast, I think, coming out later today or tomorrow. I'm still just finishing up the edit, but it should be out pretty soon. Netflix 343, CrowdStrike 134, Robinhood 965, Spotify 133, JP Morgan 126. Palantir 842, down even more, up 0.7%. So markets red in the morning. Some stocks are green, but most stocks are pretty red. Sachin says it's good. It's a good deal as Palantir has good product and average sales team relative to peers, so Microsoft can immediately take advantage by deploying its sales power. Yeah, and this was the concern around Microsoft being like their biggest competitor in terms of Microsoft having all the distribution. I mean, if you look at Microsoft's teams, they have 280 million monthly active users, whereas Slack has 20 million monthly active users, right? So it's literally a more than 10x increase in terms of usage because Microsoft is distribution. But I think what we came to recognize over the past couple of months is Microsoft's not really trying to compete with Palantir. They're trying to sell more Azure because that's what they know they can do. And so if they can sell more Azure and Palantir can get them into these different niche industries or even, public industries to allow them and enable them to sell more high quality products to customers already buying from them, then it's a pretty strategic partnership without that much conflict of interest. And they're going to work together on it. And as a result of working together on it, it's going to help Palantir for sure. What percentage do you have in SoFi? I think, what percentage is SoFi of the portfolio? It's I think 5%, something like that. 6.4, 5.57%, 5.57%. Palantir just went red. Yeah, I thought. I thought. Well, there we go. Palantir went red, 835. Again, the market doesn't care. But again, for us as shareholders that are really trying to analyze this company, we're looking at deals like this Palantir Microsoft thing, and we're like, this seems like they should be able, again, right? Palantir said 2.2 billion in revenue this year. I don't know how much more the Microsoft deal inside of the government enables them, but could that get them another couple $100 million contracts over the next couple of years? And could that increase the CAGR to 30% that we want versus 17%? I don't know. We have to see. But we do know they were working behind the scenes to and we know defense spending is going up by $1 trillion in 2026, right? Bank of America says it's going from 800 billion to $1 trillion in 2026. And even if it's not defense in particular, the government needs software and they need to deploy software effectively. The Department of Defense absolutely needs software to be deployed effectively. Using Microsoft Amazon, the only other IL6 certified company that knows how to do privacy and governance of data is Palantir. That screams to me monopoly. That's what it is. There's 3 companies that can do it, and 2 of them don't do what Palantir does. They sell cloud compute. So Palantir is literally the only IL6 competitor or company that can sell the stuff that we need them to sell, that the government needs to be able to do in terms of data analytics. And they're the ones that can protect the data, which is why, again, they have that clearance, which is why they have IL6. No other company has it. There's 3 companies in the world that have it, and 2 of them sell compute. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Gold, what is gold? Gold price. Let's see where the price of gold is. Wow, gold at 2,000? Oh my. Look at that. Palantir bought $50 million of it when it was, I think, 1,700 back in August 2020. I didn't know gold was at 2,000. Remember, gold was at 1,000 in 2010. So it took 10 years for it to double. But that's the point of gold. I did not know it was at 2,000. Wow. Gold is up. Interesting. Wow. Gold is up. OPEC is cutting oil production. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. OPEC cutting oil production. Okay, let's go to this private payroll stuff because this news also broke, and this is important to understand inflation. So private payrolls rose by 145,000 in March, which is technically good for Jerome Powell because that means that there is less private jobs coming to the market, right? Private sector hiring just rose by 145,000, down from 261,000 in February and below the estimate of 210,000. So analysts thought we would get 210,000 new jobs. We got 145,000. Amazon cut jobs. We're having DoorDash, I believe, cut jobs. Uber starting to cut jobs. McDonald's cutting jobs. Starbucks is cutting some jobs. So a lot of jobs have also been cut. Financial activities lost 51,000 jobs, and professional and business services fell by 46,000. Leisure and hospitality added 98,000 workers. Trade, transportation, and utility grew by 56,000. Construction by 53,000. Our March payroll data is one of the several signals that the economy is slowing. ADP's chief economist, employers are pulling back from a year of strong hiring and pay growth after a 3-month plateau is inching down. Again, that slowing is good because that means inflation should be coming down to an extent. And if that's the case, unemployment will go up, and hopefully it doesn't go up astronomically, but if it goes up just a little bit, we're going to get inflation coming down, and inflation coming down will lead to eventually rate cuts. I don't know if it's this year, but hopefully next year. Definitely a pause that it's looking like we're going to get. It's going to be very hard for the Fed to imagine raising it. Unemployment rate is 3.6%. We're expecting Friday's payroll report to be 283,000 in March. So, I mean, that's definitely good news for Jerome. So we're going to see kind of where it goes from there. Is to lock in your buying power. That is also true. Let me pull up the talking heads and see what they have to say about some of the stuff going on. But yeah, I guess, I mean, I think the Palantir partnership is really good. I'll make a video on it later. It seems like it makes a lot of sense. If we just imagine that the government's going to be doing a lot more stuff going over the next decade in private defense and military spending, etc. And you've again, and to get IL-6, this is what we talked about months ago, but it feels like years ago. IL-6 is not easy because like when you get IL-6, you can't misuse the data. Like you just can't. And so and Microsoft and Amazon have kind of proved themselves in the government sector to be able to have that level of security. Palantir, a much smaller company, they finally proved themselves last year to be able to get that. If another company doesn't do what Palantir does in the way that Palantir does it and doesn't have IL-6, then Palantir is the only one that can get those deals. And that is where you get a little bit more of the Peter Thiel 0 to 1 philosophy in at least the governmental sector. We just have to see how it plays out and if they're going to be able to ultimately get to those deals. Now let's take a look at C3 AI. Okay, these guys were down 26% yesterday. And C3 AI, obviously there's a ticker symbol called AI, which is why they were up like 150% in the month. They're down 2% again today. A short report came out on them. Let's take a look at that short report. We have the guy who made the short report talking about why it went down so much. Let's go to this right here.
Officer of Carisdale Capital. Sam, thanks for being on today. I do want to get your response to their response, but first, break down this report for me, this letter that you sent to C3 AI's auditor, and what specifically you're alleging.
Sure. I mean, C3 AI uses extremely creative, very aggressive accounting to inflate its income statement metrics. And so we thought that, this needs to be brought to light, both for the auditors and for the investing public. And so we wrote a letter documenting some of the very aggressive accounting that we think C3 AI has been utilizing in its financial statements, and sent that and made it public this morning.
And you sent that letter, made it public. You sent that letter to Deloitte. Have you heard back from the auditor?
No. So C3 AI's fiscal year ends on April 30th. So Deloitte will be working on its audits next month. And so we've asked them to review our letter and keep those contents in mind as they go through the company's financial statements. And hopefully they can remedy some of the significant shortcomings that we see in its financial reporting.
You've shorted the stock on and off for some time. Why write the letter now?
Well, because the fiscal year end is coming up in about 25 days. And so now is sort of the perfect time for the auditors to, receive some pressure from the investing public to make sure that these audited financial statements are providing a clear picture of the company's profit and loss. And so, the first thing that we mentioned is the unbilled receivables. This company had made about $260 million of revenue in the past 12 months. $80 million of that is unbilled receivables. What unbilled receivables means is that you're booking revenue, and yet it's not just that you haven't received the cash, you haven't even invoiced the customer. More than 30% of the customer's revenue, they haven't even bothered invoicing the customer. Who is that customer? Baker Hughes, which is a shareholder. It's a related party. And it's really a company that's just contracted to be required to purchase, to give C3AI revenue, mostly because it was given discounted shares in 2019 before the company's IPO. So, at the end of the day, this isn't real revenue in our opinion. And
yeah, to get revenue from a company that you gave discounted shares to, and to not have even invoiced that company for the revenue, but to claim it's revenue, there's an argument about that. There is definitely an argument you can make to go short. I mean, look, being down 24% in a day, like all of us knew AI was going to collapse, not actual AI, but the company. But I think most of us that didn't short it or buy puts on it were scared of when it would happen, because you don't want to get born, because right, the market can just go crazy. But we all kind of knew this 26% down in a day was coming. And there were people that were buying it at 33 because they were like, well, why not? Well, this is why not, right? Because it's hard when a company's not real. A company's not real. So for all the people that felt FOMO that Palantir is not up 30% a day, but C3 AI is, again, this is where playing the long game becomes so important. C3 AI does not have IL6 certification, where they are working with Microsoft, almost a $3 trillion company, to expand AI data analytics software in the defense space and to have governance and privacy over the data because they have IL6 certification. That's not happening with C3 AI. That's happening with Palantir. But the market doesn't like it yet, and the market's not going to like it for a variety of reasons. But when the market does like it, I feel like the market will respect it meaningfully. And they're going to have to show the revenue growth to be able to sustain that. But one could logically assume the revenue growth will happen if you're the only company being able to do that. That is a logical assumption that I think any investor reasonably can make and make an investment thesis based off that. C3 AI is not going to show that. So I've never heard of a company claiming unbilled revenue. Yeah, I mean, like, it's especially in the space that they're in, because it's not a governmental contract. Like Palantir has unbilled revenue, but they don't show it as revenue. They show it as, oh, we're going to collect $3.6 billion. We have this, money to eventually collect, but it's not revenue, right? It's just like, hey, this is coming down the pipeline. When you say it's actually revenue, that's like, it's not the best. Tesla 188, buying. I think my average is 185. So let's give it another 20 minutes. Let's see if it gets down a little bit more, and then I will buy. I mean, I've been buying Tesla almost every week, even if it's 1 or 2 shares. I've still been buying it. I've just been building up a little bit of a position there. Such and says, also, especially at a time when the government wants to increase spending in AI and cloud. Yeah, and governments across the world, much less the United States, want to increase their spending in AI and cloud. And Palantir is ready to go. Have you seen Jeremy's thoughts on SoFi? I have not. I'm assuming he doesn't like it, but let me know. I actually haven't seen his thoughts. Cash App founder Bob Lee reportedly killed in San Francisco, stabbing, sources say. Yeah, I saw this news last night. This was pretty sad. He was the former CTO of Square. He made Cash App. Bob Lee's his name, and he was stabbed to death in San Francisco. It's really sad stuff. Sorry to report on it. San Francisco is becoming one of those cities where it's like, they've made so much wealth, but they've governed it so poorly. And, it seems kind of beautiful when you look at the pictures, but I don't know if I would ever want to live in San Francisco. Like, it feels very, very unsafe, just the way they've operated that city. So that's sad, man. That is really sad. Okay, let's see what else we have going on. Admit Rocket Lab is a juicy price. Buy 100 shares. I just hit 100. I am getting much more excited about Rocket Lab. Again, I did a podcast on that, and it's getting more exciting for me to initiate a position. I just want to do a little bit more research. I agree the price is fine, right? I mean, look, it seems like on conservative estimates, it's a 5x in the next 7-8 years, which is reasonable. So I just want to do a little bit more due diligence before I decide to officially buy in, but it's on the watch list. I am looking at it. I love how Palantir is slowly getting out there. One day, people, one day. Yeah, and look, it's about how much patience do you have to hold on and like really deal with this. Like when we see this stuff happen, when we see these deals, obviously the intuitive thing is like, oh well, the market should respect a Palantir Microsoft partnership. The Microsoft doesn't have the market doesn't have to respect it because there's no revenue growth yet, right? Like, and I can't argue against that. If this Microsoft deal doesn't increase revenue, increase clients, increase more than 20% year-over-year growth, it's meaningless, right? So one can only logically assume that it will do that. And as long as it does do that, the market will always catch up, right? It's like everything catches up once they see the numbers. The numbers solve every single problem. Anything problem you have in life, if you have the numbers, it is solved because everyone respects the numbers. But you got to get the numbers. Until you get the numbers, it really doesn't matter. It's just cool to see the partnerships happening as as these numbers come in. And then it's just a question to see where it's going to go from there once the numbers are in there. We have Apple as a top pick again. Let's take a look at the bull case for Apple. 302 people being here. Thank you so much for being here. Let's take a look at this one right here.
So basically, the teen survey showed that the Apple brand really stood out. So 5,600 teens were surveyed. About 87% of the teens surveyed use an Apple phone today, and 88%, that's a stunning number, said they would buy the brand again for their next phone. The watch commands a stunning 35% plus take rate within teens, and the pods stand at 73%. In other words, 73% of the teens own an AirPod. So I think what makes this brand tick is the fact that the ecosystem is very strong. Everything works together. The products are flawless, clean, and extremely reliable.
It also speaks to how sticky the brand is, right? Harsh, I mean, you're talking about the next generations buying into these devices, whether it's an iPhone or whether it's a watch. And so you have the purchase of that, you have the revenue associated with that, but then you have all of the services and the ecosystem associated.
So this idea that the teen pick for Apple is like the best, is like a bull case for Apple. I get it, but I also still am not super bullish on Apple's pipeline of products. Like, I don't think the headset's going to be amazing. We know a car is not coming. Yes, people are going to buy the phone over and over again, but I just don't know how long you can do that. NVIDIA at 266. So Apple may be a top teen pick. Apple also now, I think, at 163. But I wouldn't touch this stock. Also, by the way, hold on. Speaking of Apple, hold on. I got to show you guys this. Speaking of Apple, let me show you this, because I said this on Finance Junkies a while ago, and I got laughed at for saying this. I got laughed at. I literally got laughed at. I don't think I should get laughed at this time. You know why? Here's why. Speaking of Apple, Mr. Tim Apple. This is what happened to Mr. Tim Apple, okay? This is what he did yesterday. Apple, Tim Cook has sold shares. Total amount he sold $4 million worth of shares. Okay. $4 million worth of shares. Now, look, I'm not saying Tim Cook's not allowed to sell. I'm just saying the COO, Chief Operating Officer, sold $30 million worth of shares. He sold 187,000 shares 2 weeks ago. Look, when insiders start selling, especially in Apple, if Apple has this great growth trajectory set up for it, it's only $15 away from being a $3 trillion company at $180. Why are insiders selling? It's just, it's at some level, basic human intuition has to come in. And when the COO and CEO are selling, it's not that Apple's not going to grow or not going to be around. It's just, it's not cool to see that happening, especially because they have WWDC, which is the Worldwide Developer Conference, coming up in literally 3 months. So you would imagine the market's going to like what they're going to announce. And if they know that's going to happen, you can't wait 3 months. They make a lot of money. I don't know if they need $4 million right now. So not interested from that perspective. Bro, I feel like I'm growing old with you. Been with you since the start of the channel. I love it. I'm planning to be here for a while, Samrath. So you and me, you guys are going to see my girlfriend when I get married, all that shit. You guys are going to see everything that happens on this channel. What happens with my startup, if we fail, if we make it big, all this stuff, you guys are going to see everything. So thank you all for being here. It means a lot. Super honest question. Do I need to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy to understand the depth behind the Palantir name? Now, people are going to cancel me for this, but I haven't watched Lord of the Rings ever. So, but I still love Palantir. So no, you don't have to. Your insider selling theories are ridiculous. 4 million is pocket change to TC. I get it, but it's still $4 million. That's what I'm saying. I get it. I understand though. Yes, it might be some pocket change, but why do you need $4 million right now? It's not, if it was 100,000, 200,000, I get, but 4 million, I get it's pocket change. I just don't like to see him selling before one of the biggest product announces, which theoretically is going to be the headset. If you've seen the Enphase, by the way, down to 197, if you've seen the preview for the Worldwide Developer Conference, it is a picture of like a rainbow. It's basically, looks like to me, it's going to be a headset. Why are you selling before one of the, most revolutionary product announcements ever? It's because maybe you don't think it's that revolutionary. Maybe you don't think it's that good. That's all I'm saying. Also, in general, I mean, like the selling the stock is whatever. My overarching thesis with Apple is like, I just don't see that much amount of growth left for them. It's not like they're not going to grow. It's just that I don't see what's the next S curve. I don't think it's services. I don't think it's advertising. It's not the car. And I don't believe in the headset. I could be wrong on all of those, but I personally don't see that. So when people say Apple is like a top brand, it's like, yeah, I get it. But it's also a $3 trillion company. And a $3 trillion company is very hard to mess with. Apple will pop in 3 months if they announce the VR headset at a decent price for public. I personally just don't believe people care about the VR headsets, bro. I really don't. So that's just me. I could be so wrong on that. I think Meta is kind of proven people really don't care about it. So even though Meta is doing okay with it, right? But I don't know. Okay, Enphase is at 195. Below 200 is yes, it's a DCA, but again, 185 is where I think it's an obvious DCA, and then anything below 185, very obvious. However, if you're building out a position, I think Enphase at 195 is not the worst thing because this guy runs, right? This guy runs. It runs up to 220, runs back down to 190. It's gone from 191 to 220 at least 3 times in the past week. and if I had sold, I would have, made a bunch of money in the meet, but I've just held on to Enphase because I'm holding on to it. I think my average is like 191 at this point. Google at 104. So Enphase, I would just wait a little bit more to see. I just got 2 shares of Tesla at 188. I just bought 2 shares of Tesla on my phone. So I got it at 188. Now I have, I think, 20 shares of Tesla officially, something like that. So it's a very small position. Obviously, my Tesla position is not huge, but it is DCAing very slowly and building up. I did buy Palantir yesterday. I bought 40 shares of Palantir yesterday at like 840-ish, I think, yesterday. Palantir now at 834. How many? So the total shares of Palantir I have now, let me give you guys an update, is 3,080.79. So 3,081. Average cost 15 still. So we've still got a long way to go to break even on that. And, if I can get it by the end of the year, that average cost to be $10, that would be really nice. Just got to keep DCing and keep up with it as it goes up. DNA 126, Neo 8. Wow. Why is Neo down? Neo got slammed. Why is Neo getting hit? Oh my. Is that like Tesla residue on Neo? Neo's getting hit. Oh my goodness. Wow. Swing trade Enphase and Vitaly's phase. I told him I was going to, but I didn't. I would have made like $400, but I haven't done it. Enphase is a me Kevin stock. Stay away. So it is a me Kevin stock, but I disagree. Enphase, the thesis on Enphase is very solid. I mean, and they're growing at like 70% year over year, and they're trading at a PE of like 44. I mean, it's one of those where Enphase is a runner, and and if you understand the solar, the bull case, all this stuff. Again, we talked about it a lot on the channel, but Enphase is a stock that I'm pretty much sold on at this point. It makes a lot of sense to me, especially with the management they have. Yeah, and again, it's chump change for Tim Cook. I just don't like that he's selling before their big announcements. DNA and SoFi is a 5.57% position for me. DNA is like a 2% position. Again, DNA guys. Also, the other thing I don't like about DNA is Jason Kelly keeps selling freaking shares. Like I don't like it. That's why I said I don't want to buy this stock. I have a very, very small position in DNA. Like my thing about DNA is like the CEO, and now he has 22 million shares and he's selling like 100,000 shares, which you could argue again is chump change. But this is what I'm saying. Tim Cook selling 4 million is chump change, right? DNA CEO has 22 million shares. He sold like 200,000, I think 3 days ago. That 200,000 out of 22 million is nothing, but no one likes to see that. Like your stock is down 90%. Why are you selling 200,000 shares? That's like no shareholder likes to see that. And I don't want to buy while he's doing that. I don't like that at all. It's really annoying. Same thing with Apple for me, even though Apple's not down 90%. So it's, this is the part where I just like, as much as I think DNA has potential and they're super, like, I just don't like how management is treating shareholders by selling all these shares. It's not interesting to me. Now, they said stock-based compensation is coming down. I get it. I know Kathy Wood's team has a boatload of research on them. I know they announced some partnership yesterday, but they've got to prove the revenue growth is justified to be able to sell this up. Like, look, do I think DNA can go from 126 to 226 pretty easily? Yes, I do. When the macro gets better, I think it's going to run up to 250 pretty easily. But it's not going to happen if they keep selling shares. And it's also not going to happen unless they actually show that the platform is working. And that's why it's speculative. And, I don't blame them for being speculative. It's a speculative biotech tech play. It's not really biotech. It's biotech tech. But if you're going to buy it, you got to keep it a very small position because it's not something you want to bet the farm on. It's just not something you want to bet the farm on. Enphase at 195, Palantir at 830, Microsoft at 285 right now. Okay, let's take a look at some of this stuff. How's SoFi doing post Kramer kiss of death? Yeah, man, Tevis, I'm worried about this. This is not exciting for me. This is not exciting. It's down today, but it's over the next month is going to be the real test of it. Can he be able to continue to do it? Founders go public to sell shares. They deserve it. Look, I agree. It's just he's selling a lot. He sold a lot already. He doesn't need to keep selling so much. That's the only reason. I'm just like, yo, he sold a lot already. Like every single day, bro, selling 100,000 shares. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. Reasons why NEO is down: 1, meme stock; 2, YouTube stock; 3, overvalued; 4, China. Is NEO still a meme stock? Like, I know it was a meme stock, but I don't think NEO is a meme stock anymore. Is it? Their average volume is 45 million a day. Wow, it might be a meme stock. Oh my. 45 million times this thing is traded every day. What the heck? What's Enphase's average? Look, Enphase's average volume is 409,000. Apple's is 6 million. Now, Apple's float is bigger, so I get it. Palantir is 40 million. Palantir's float is also bigger. Nvidia is 9 million. Tesla is 19 million. Bro, 45 million times people trade shares with NEO. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I feel like a recession is imminent. Enphase is the last thing I want to own when that comes down. Is a recession imminent? I mean, that's the question, right? We just had a rally over the past couple of weeks up 10-15%. Is a recession actually imminent? Like, are we actually getting a recession, or is it, like that? I think that's the question. Do we actually, if inflation's going down and the Fed's going to pause, do we actually get, a big downturn? Let's take a look at this. Market isn't showing evidence that the bear market cycle is over. So here's the argument for why a recession is imminent. Let's take a look at this. Amit, thoughts on ZS Crowd? I like Crowd. Don't know too much about ZS. I've heard about them. Don't know too much. Crowd, I like. Don't have a position, but in terms of cybersecurity, I don't think you can go wrong with CrowdStrike. There's other companies out there, but CrowdStrike is the main player.
And here to talk signals in the charts, Katie Stockton, founder and managing partner for Fairlead Strategies. She's also a CNBC contributor. Katie, some of our viewers pointing out we are 4,100 on the S&P. That's surprising to you at this point? We don't expect you to be able to say buy at 3,800, sell at 4,100. But you've been sort of positioned bearishly for a while. Are we missing something by following your advice, or are you going to be right in the end, you think?
It's been a range-bound market really overall, and I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from for me and for many of us who are investing in the equity market here. We've had short-term upswings and downswings that have been pretty notable, including the latest upswing. So it definitely has surprised me in terms of the magnitude, but we don't have the evidence yet that we're out of the bear market cycle. The good news is that we're closer to that. So for the S&P 500, the level that we're watching is about 41.55 now, and that is a very key resistance level on the chart. We track something called the cloud model. If we were to see a couple of good weekly closes above that level, that would effectively reverse the downtrend that began early last year for the S&P 500. So that would be a big deal in terms of levels. And there's a couple of other things that we have on our radar that could suggest that we're shifting here. One of which is the VIX, or volatility index, and that still has support intact around 1845. So yet another very key level. It's not terribly far away at this time. And if we were to see the VIX take that out, that would reflect a shift in market sentiment. And that would be something that could also be perceived as bullish as well.
That's weird. So a weak VIX could actually end up being bullish instead of us looking for that washout back up in the mid 30s. Have you moved any support levels on the S&P? Have you moved any of those up? Is that something you do as we stay above certain levels for a period of time?
Yeah, the levels are definitely dynamic in that, some become evident as things progress. For the S&P 500, the major support does remain around that 3505 level, and we still really cannot rule that out as long as this bear market cycle is intact. So I don't think we're out of the woods as of yet. In the interim, there is support at the December lows, which were tested successfully in March. So that successful test in March of about the 3,800 level made it evident that that's a key level as well, not as important as the 3,505.
All right, so that's just another analyst saying they have no idea where the market's going. Last piece of breaking news before we end it out for today. Richard Branson's rocket company, Virgin Orbit, has just filed for bankruptcy. Apparently this broke yesterday. I didn't even cover it. Virgin Orbit went public via SPAC at $3.7 billion. It's currently worth less than $50 million. Richard Branson is filing for bankruptcy. Bullish Rocket Lab? Bullish SpaceX? Not bullish Virgin Orbit. All right, that's it. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I'll have a video coming out today breaking down the Palantir Microsoft partnership a little bit more, but I'll record this right after this live stream. And that's pretty much it for me. We'll be back with Finance Junkie. Sorry we couldn't do yesterday. Carlos and Chris couldn't make it. We'll be back tonight, 10 p.m. as always, and we have a lot to discuss, so we'll have all that discussion going on. And that's pretty much it for me. Is that a Chamath sold out of a lot of his position there? No, he sold out of it in space. Sorry. I don't even know if Chamath SPAC'd that one. He SPAC'd space. So that was a different one. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. I will see you guys later tonight, and have a great Wednesday. Bye-bye.